everyone, welcome to another episode of KepTalk. Happy Mother's Day. We're actually recording this video on Mother's Day. I know the video will not be out on Mother's Day, but it is Mother's Day. So thank you for watching, and I'm wishing all the mothers out there, the mothers-to-be, maternal figures, a happy Mother's Day. And a wonderful month of May. We are in May. So yes, we are going to go right into the episode today. I have a beautiful couple with me. I will let them introduce themselves. And before they introduce themselves, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
All right, so over to you guys. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Ayo.
Ayo what?
Ayo Ogunfowora.
Yes. Gotta get that last name. My name is Timi Ayo. Love KepTalk.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, love being a part of this, and we're really honored
Thank you.
for inviting us.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
So yeah, let's get right into it. I'm excited. I am so excited to just talk to you both, to hear your story, because I know that it's going to just encourage so many people, whether you're a male, a female, and it's just special even to me because it's Mother's Day, right? And so I know that God has a way of just putting things together, even having you guys on here on Mother's Day. It's definitely God's doing, for sure. So thank you. All right, so can you guys share your story with us? I want us to kind of dive in, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Yeah.
Yeah? You guys are such a cute couple.
I could start. Like, our story is really around God blessing us with children. I think our story is a story that's very has a lot of roller coasters. I think a lot of people 2020 was like the year from hell, or the year that was, one of the worst years of their lives. But for 2019, I think for us was one of the worst years of our lives. I think we can agree on that, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons why it was one of the worst years of our lives is because, we conceived a couple of times, and, we weren't able to, or it wasn't in the cards where those pregnancies went to completion. And it happened a couple of times, and it was just very tough. It was very tough, especially as believers. We believe that the Lord really, is the author and the finisher of our faith. And to have multiple pregnancies that didn't happen for us, it was really tough for our faith walk.
Yeah. I guess just to piggyback off what he said, so we got pregnant. The first time we got pregnant was in January of 2019. And then in March, we had found out that the baby had stopped growing. They didn't find a heartbeat, and they couldn't really figure out why. So, they were just like, well, you can try again. So we're like, okay. I mean, it wasn't like, okay, it was definitely hard emotionally, trying to figure out why, we, lost the pregnancy, especially because before I conceived, the Lord showed me that I would. And so I was just like, I was, very confused. Like, I don't understand what's going on. So then March came in and left, and we came to June. And we found that we got pregnant again. So I'm like, okay, another chance. This is going to be great. I wasn't as nervous. But then I guess as time went on, my anxiety started to develop a little bit. And then went for a routine checkup. Again, they said that, hey, couldn't find a heartbeat. And then I believe they said they don't even find a sac. They couldn't find the sac anymore. So I was like, okay, I don't really understand, what's going on. So time went on, and then we got pregnant again in December. And the day after Christmas, I miscarried again. But this time it was, an overflow of blood. And so, I called like the doctor, and I was explaining to them what happened. And they're like, well, when you're so early, sometimes spotting can be an issue. And I was just like, I don't think this is spotting, And so they're like, okay, well, come in, let's check it out. And I went in, and nothing was there. And so at this point, I was just like, yeah, I'm pretty numb to life, and I don't really understand what's going on or why this is even happening. But I made sure that I wasn't going to go into 2021 the same. And so 2020,
yeah.
Yes. 2020.
Yeah.
And by his grace, we didn't. So 2019 was definitely, a roller coaster of a year. But he definitely brought us into smooth sailing in 2020.
I want to rewind because
Yeah,
I was saying this very casually. 2019, this story,
Well, you want me to roll over and cry? I mean, it's not casual.
But you were saying it very casually.
It was roll, yeah.
I will tell you, every appointment, and mothers out there know, you get these checkup appointments. Every checkup appointment was like spiritual warfare, like battling against the mind, especially somebody that's supporting, somebody that's going through this pregnancy. It's just like the anxiety, is the baby growing? If the baby grew, like how much did they grow? Like it was just everything was so anxiety driven. It was so fearful, and
I think that was more so with Nathaniel. Did I have bad anxiety, or did it start to develop in 2019? Yes, but with my pregnancy with Nathaniel was in 2020 was more anxiety driven for me, only because of the trauma that I experienced in 2019. Did I have anxiety with my pregnancies? Absolutely. But was it more visible in 2020? Yes, it was. Yeah.
And I'm sure too with the pandemic.
Yeah, and
I'm sure that played a role.
It did. It played a huge part. And I'm a practice manager for an oncology center, so my role, I couldn't work from home. I had to go in every single day. And when you start hearing about people catching something that's so contagious while you're pregnant, and there's like no studies on it, there really wasn't any type of treatment, or everyone was just trying to figure everything out.
Nobody knew what was going on.
So here I am, pregnant. It finally stuck and it's growing, and I have to now worry about catching COVID and the chances of losing this baby due to something that no one knows about. So if there was any type of anxiety, that was big. So it's like, I'm anxious about COVID, but I'm also anxious about keeping the pregnancy.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess I should ask you guys separately, right? Because, you're an individual, your own person, but were the emotions you felt different for each of the miscarriages?
I would say my emotions progressed.
Okay.
So, with the first, of course, emotional. With the second, it was like, okay, like this is too much, what's going to happen? And then with the third, I was just numb.
Okay.
Now the third was more so like, okay, lights out, like to life. I just was just like, curtain drop, game over. I don't know what's going on or when this is all gonna stop.
How about for you as the father? And you're not physically carrying the baby, so I'm interested to hear your perspective and how your emotions were as well.
Yeah, so I think for me it's just, I think men are taught to be, kind of like, hide your emotions and really, I guess, not be as expressive. Like I don't know how it is to be expressive. My wife always asks me, express my emotions, express how I feel, and sometimes I just didn't know how to express or what I felt. That numb that she talked about in the third pregnancies. I think that I naturally go into that, like automatically when I'm faced with a lot of trauma, and so when we lost the first one, it was kind of like, all right, I gotta be the rock. I gotta be there for her. I gotta make sure that she's good, and I gotta make sure that I'm trying to lift her up. Second one, all right, what's happening, what's going on, let's see if we can do something, like trying to be solution oriented and not really processing things. The third one happens and I could tell like she is like going through it. Like, is she depressed? Is she like I just I'm so focused on her emotions that I really never unpacked things.
Your own emotions.
Yeah. I actually went to therapy. And my therapist was like, oh, it was literally right after the third one. And he's like, yo, you just had couple miscarriages and you're just talking about like it's normal. Like there's something wrong. Yeah, like there's something wrong with that. If you're not grieving about this is extremely unhealthy. And I realized like, if I didn't mourn well in these, that it will, it will affect, my relationship with Ayo, because it really, me being disattached, it didn't feel like I was mourning with her. She felt like alone in mourning and in her grief, and it really affected the marriage because I wasn't intentionally, I was intentionally like severing my emotions. So yeah, it was tough.
So if you don't mind me asking, how exactly was your marriage affected?
So with everything that happened, I, pretty much started to see myself shut down. So Timi likes, to go out, and instead of me going out with him, I would sit in a room or sit like in the living room with the TV off in the dark and just start crying, or just sit even with the TV on and and just cry. So I definitely wasn't, I guess, as vocal. Timi would say, talk to me, tell me your thoughts, and blah blah blah. And my thoughts were all over the place. And when my thoughts are all over the place, I don't really like to communicate it. I just sit, in my thoughts. Yeah, I sulk in my thoughts. Instead of expressing it. And I think what I would tell anyone who's going through it or has ever went through it, I would say, if you are able to get up and take a walk or get some sun or go out with your husband, or have like a small group, who you can confide in and share your thoughts with, do it, because it really helps the healing process. And with me not doing that, it definitely took a toll on our marriage because, for some reason, he felt like I didn't want to, and I didn't engage him during that time, which wasn't the case. It was just that I was just going through my own internal grief. Right.
You had your way of grieving.
Which wasn't the healthiest way. Yeah.
And I would say I was on the extreme opposite end. Wow. I want to move. I want to get out. I want to get my mind off of it, and I want to do things so I don't think about the grief, and it really, like, in my mind, like, it's just like it felt like this is not the wife that I signed up for. Like, when we were in our courting phase, it was, we were out and about, we were traveling, we had so much fun, we were joking.
But these are not conversations that I don't think people have prior to getting married.
No.
Right?
No.
What if?
No.
What if?
What if? We don't think about the what ifs.
And the thing is, like, this is not just a regular grief. This is not. This is not just you lost your a family member. You lost something that we were planning for the future. We literally planned out our finances, our, a 5-month, 5-year, 10-year goals based off of these pregnancies. And, to see them not happen, it really like it breaks you, and it breaks your spirit. But, and then spiritually, like, it definitely, makes you on a different wavelength. There'd be moments where I want to pray and just pray, and she's not in the mood for it. There'd be moments where she wants to, do a 14-day fast, and I'm just like, on the move, and I can't do it at the moment. So we were just not on the same page, and we weren't aligned, and it really, like, it was disruptive, and each time it was disruptive in a different way.
You mentioned something about having people around you, a core group who we can confide in.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important.
Yeah.
And so it just makes you think about even family, right? What role your family played in all of this. Because a lot of us, our core group is like our family, right? Or
absolutely.
friends that turn family.
Absolutely.
So can you kind of break down the role your family might have played? And I guess each of you would have to kind of break it down.
Yeah. So I'm very close to my mom. And so, my mom, of course, was very in the know about everything that's going on. And, she is and she isn't a typical Nigerian. She came here when she was 18, so she's very, well adapted to America. And so I'm able to have, like real conversations with her, and she understands. So she was, a very big part of, just the healing process. I mean, during, the healing process, she wouldn't always have like the right words to say, but she was always there and always very present. And then, I have his sister, my sister-in-law. She is an amazing big sister. She could be a pest when it came to checking up. And, during that time of grieving, it's like, I don't really want to talk to you, but she is very persistent.
Yeah.
And which is good. I needed that persistency.
Yeah.
So she was very persistent with, checking in on me. And then I had like a small circle of friends who, very small circle of friends who checked in with me when I needed it. And they know till today that I'm always forever grateful, to their presence. But then I also put some friends on blast, who I felt like wasn't there, who I felt should have been there. And I'm glad that I did that, because if I would have kept that, I probably would have been bitter towards them till today without releasing it in real time. Yeah.
So. I love that. How about you?
Yeah.
Who was your core group, or what role did your family play?
Yeah. So core group, I think there was because I was not as expressive. I turned down a lot of like support. At least from friends. I think there's some friends, especially guys, they don't even know, like slap on the back, like, yo, you good? And that's it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
all right, you good? Bet. All right.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all right, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I pray for you, bro. Good. All right, good.
Yeah.
But there were some friends that were very gave like a lot of great wisdom, or pull me aside and really was inquisitive. It's not just the pest, it's just like inquisitive. How are you feeling? Yeah. You don't know how you're feeling? Okay, so what are
What's
some
your mind
thoughts?
like right now?
What is the first couple of thoughts that pop up? Like, how did it make you feel? Like, what were you thinking about, when it just happened? Like, and they really pulled it out. It's not just like when they felt me pushing back against answering, they've pushed back as well, and I'm very grateful for those friends. In terms of family, I think that my family, especially African families, they really just want the best, and they want to know what is wrong so they can remove it, or they just want the best for their
pray it out.
Pray it out, or
sometimes it's not just that simple.
What's the answer? I think there was a lot of questions about like, what is it? And we we didn't get a lot of answers from our physicians, or we did all the tests. There was nothing really conclusive for a real reason. We know that I think about 1/3 of pregnancies, 1 out of 3. Yeah.
43%.
43%.
Yeah.
Wow.
They say 43% of women experience a miscarriage in their first trimester. And that is a big number.
That is a really big number.
That's a huge number. And for some reason, and it's not really even just Nigerians, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're Nigerian, but I feel like a lot of African Americans, it's just like taboo to even talk about it. It's like, and it's unfortunate because so many women are going through this. So many women.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that there was, because the physicians made it so casual, like, you'll get it next time.
Yeah.
I think that it was, and we didn't get the answers that we wanted when we did the test. Everything was inconclusive. Everything was clear. We were both healthy. When families started to ask, it was just like, we don't have any answers. It must be something. Mm-hmm. It must be something.
Yeah. What
is it? Like, and at that point, we just wanted time to ourselves. We didn't want to, they wanted to do one remedy, this one thing that that can help out, and it's just like just allow us our time to process this. And I think it's, again, the parents want the best for you. Your family wants the best for you, but they also have to understand, like, this is grief. This is you just lost something that you really believed that was gonna come through for you, all the way to completion. So
absolutely. And I think also going through that 3 times in 1 year, like, even me trying to wrap my head around it, I'm just like, I can only imagine how you guys felt in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, not once, not twice, like 3 times. I just, but God is good.
Yeah.
Right? God is so good. And just as you were just even talking, a question that came to mind was that, did you guys ever blame each other?
No.
I think we blamed ourselves at certain times.
Well, not for, I don't know, I never blamed you. I held us accountable for, during that period, we were like arguing during that period. And it was just like, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But I never blamed him for what, like the miscarriage itself. Did I blame myself? I don't even know how to answer. I don't think I did, but it was more so like, could I have done something else or something better? I don't know if that's blaming yourself. I don't
know. Yeah, I was like, I should have been more supportive. Yeah. I don't need to agitate. Like, it was guilt. Every time it happened, it was guilt. Like, what could I have done
on
better?
your end?
Yes, on my end.
Yeah.
Definitely would not blame her, but it's just like, it's just like, what can I have done better? And it's a very bad place to be in, because, like, when you don't have a reason, you start making up reasons for yourself, and it's never a good place.
I definitely, was like, maybe I should have just prayed harder, prayed more.
Yeah.
And then this would happen. Like, I'm a very big dreamer, and so I'm like, maybe that was that dream. The Lord showed it to me, and I didn't pick it up. Yeah. So.
But the reality is like, we don't have control over this, and the more that we try to get control over it, the more that we learn we don't have any control.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's really
and that's with anything in life, honestly. We're, again, perfect example even in this entire beautiful testimony, but that's with everything. The things that you try to control, God will show you that you do not have any control whatsoever. He has the final say, and that's that. Like, that's on period, that we always say. That's just period. So I mean, that's a great point to me that you just brought up, that we don't have the control.
We don't.
Yeah. And it just kind of brings me back to the scripture that I think it's in, I don't know where it's at, but it's the scripture about him making all things beautiful in his time.
Yeah.
And
no, sorry, Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes, okay.
Ecclesiastes.
I think 3:18.
Yeah.
Don't quote us.
It's definitely Ecclesiastes 3.
Okay. Yeah. But he really does make all things beautiful in his time. So you mentioned not having Ayo, the Ayo that you married, in the beginning. Can you elaborate on that? What you meant by that statement? Like, this is not the person that you married.
Yeah. See how she's looking at me?
She's like,
please explain. I think it was she wasn't the person that I married because, when we would, in the beginning, like in the courting phase, we would be, she was just so loving and so warm and so intimate, and so we just had a great chemistry. And after the miscarriages, like, it increasingly got more cold. She became more like, dare I say it, depressed, and in a place where she would not embrace me the same way. And that's why I'm saying, like, it's not the same wife. Like, I don't come home and get an embrace. I come home and I'm trying to, like, find ways to pick her out of this funk, and she's kind of blocking me off, and she's in her own zone. So it was just very tough. It was very tough, and I just wanted her back. I just wanted the same wife back. I thought that me getting the same wife back would fix things.
So what did you do to get your wife back? Did you do anything at all?
I think I did a really bad job at trying to get my wife back, or just engaging with her, because I think what I should have done, or what I learned is that I should have press in a little bit more and engage her a little bit more, and actually grieve with her, and actually, like, be part of the grieving process and feel with her. But I was so afraid to actually feel myself. I was so afraid to actually feel that hurt, that I missed my opportunity to group with my wife. And maybe if we would have agreed together, we might have been able to pull each other up. Maybe if we were feeling the same thing at the same time, it might have been something that we could have been through together. But it's really tough. It's really tough. Me being the man that I am, the person who I grew up, the household that I grew up in. Even now, to even say that I can grieve well after these experiences, I would be lying. Sure. Yeah, I'd be lying to tell you. I would want to. I would love to. I would love to be able to process my loss well, but I don't know. It's something that I'm still processing.
Yeah, you're still processing. Yeah. How about you? I mean, you just heard what hubby had to say. What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you feel as though he did a terrible job? You could have done better?
Yeah. So can I remix this up a little bit?
Do you?
Remix. Okay. So what he did was, I agree that he could have been more persistent. But can I put your diary in the
Yeah,
okay.
do whatever you want.
So there was like one day, I guess he had just had enough of me just not talking, and so he, Timi has like this diary where he writes all his thoughts.
It's a journal.
Okay.
A journal, guys.
Okay, I call it Timi's diary. I try to find it in the house, but I don't know where he stores it. But anyway, it pops out, out of nowhere, and in the diary, he writes all his thoughts, emotions, plans, goals, but there was a section specifically for me, and it was all the imperfections that I had exhibited during that time. And I was just like, well, homeboy, I just went through loss. Like, you are not even giving me a little bit of grace, But I also thank God for that moment, because that moment got us into therapy. And when we, got into therapy, our therapist, Chris and Rich and
Emmy,
amazing, Christ-centered therapy. They pretty much dug deeper in regards to everything that happened. So, they dug deep when it came to me and dug deep when it came to Timi. So they pretty much encouraged us to express our feelings, and then, pretty much brought Christ, in the center. And so therapy allowed me to, see, what I could have done, better as a wife, by hearing him out. But then it also showed him what he could have done better as a husband, by hearing me out. So, I thank God for the process, because, and it happened so early on in our marriage too. But, God knows all, and he sees all, and he does things accordingly. So whether it happened earlier or later in our marriage, it definitely brought us to where we are now and what he wanted us to learn and take out of that. Did it increase my faith in a different way? Absolutely. Did it teach me that I am strong when it comes to prayer? Absolutely. Did it mold me in a way that he felt like I needed to be molded? Absolutely. So I thank God for, everything that the miscarriages brought to light. The Lord needed to show us where we needed to improve in our marriage, where I needed to improve in my prayer life, how to be, a good and submissive wife, even though I am still working on that till today. But thank God for grace.
For a whole nother day.
But
let's
thank
not
God
even
for
go
grace.
down submissive.
The S word.
Let's not say it, but yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah, but his grace is sufficient, and I thank God for grace. Because even when he doesn't show me grace, the Lord shows me grace.
Absolutely. All right. So my next question for Timi, actually, was there ever a feeling of like hopelessness, like where you just lost all hope?
Yeah, I think that definitely I could say that for sure. I think especially with me being so, like, I guess nonchalant and me, not knowing how to grieve well, after the, second, third miscarriage, it was kind of like, well, like, whatever the Lord's gonna do, the Lord's gonna do. Like, I don't, I'm not gonna ask for anything from the Lord because, I asked for, we asked for pregnancies and it's failed a couple of times. So, like, why even ask? Why, there's a difference between, faith, but your faith in the Lord is something that you have. You believe that, Christ died on the cross for you. That's salvation. But there's hope, and hope is like, it fluctuates. It goes up and down. And when you have hard hits like this multiple times, for me, it really just, it made me not want to ask the Lord for anything. It made me not want to, really, it made me kind of question the goodness of the Lord. Like, can I, if I ask you for good things, you say we're not withholding any good thing from us. These are good things. Children are good things. Like, why would you withhold this from us? And you just get afraid to ask. Ask the Lord. And whatever and not to say that I at the time I was mad at the Lord for going what we go through, but like, it's just like, I don't even want to know why. I just, we'll go through it. Whatever, we'll grin and bear it. We'll go through it. And I just, I got to a point where I just didn't want to ask anything. And I don't know if my wife felt the same.
No. So though I was going through all the trauma, I still had faith that it was going to be. I mentioned this before that, I'm a dreamer, and the Lord showed it to me multiple times that we will conceive and we will deliver a healthy baby. So I wasn't going to back down. I wasn't going to give up on my faith. If anything, that made me press harder when it came to prayers. And, I said to myself, what we went through in 2019, by His grace, we will not go through in 2020. There's a famous theologian, I'm sure you guys know him, Becky W. just kidding. They went through a similar situation, and one of the things that he said that really struck me or stuck out to me was, faith doesn't mean that bad things won't happen. Faith just helps you pick yourself back up and keep pressing. And so that's what I did. I picked myself back up and I kept pressing. And the one thing about me is that I am very persistent. Very persistent, and I don't give up until I get what I want. And so I did not give up. And so in January of 2020, I went into prayer and fasting. I fasted all day, maybe had one meal, drank water. I told Timi, I said, my poop didn't even smell. I pooped and it did not smell for the first time in history. So that's how there is nothing in your system. Because I was just like, I'm gonna go in hard, and that's what I did. So that was January, and in February we were pregnant, and it literally was, by the Lord's grace. It was literally by His grace, by His doing. And honestly, I really refer to the book of Job because, he went through all of this stuff, and times 10, and people were, pretty much telling him, curse God, look at you, you look crazy and you're going through all of this. And this man said no. He said no, and the Lord brought him out of it and gave him something greater. So honestly, it's just like when you look back at stories like that, why would you give up? There's no reason for you to give up. And so, I wasn't, going to give up. Did I have moments of dark moments? Absolutely. But that didn't mean I was going to stop, stop in any way. No, I was going to go harder. Wake up the next day and go harder. Who's that? Little baby.
Little baby.
No, I love that. I really, really do. And the way God creates women is so different. It's so, the way He's just created us as wives, as mothers, as sisters, as friends, we don't back down easily. It's like, what you say we can't do, we're going to do.
Yes.
And show our spouses that we can do it.
Yes.
And I just I love your stance on it. I really, really do. And I think that, what you just said now, I'm sure a lot of women needed to hear that, right? They needed to hear listen, it might look gray, it might look rainy, but there is, just keep the faith. Keep on praying. If you have to fast, if you have to call somebody and have them be your prayer partner, whatever you need to do to make sure that you reach the final destination, and that your final was having that baby, right?
And just to add to that, first of all, shout out to my wife. Shout out to my wife. She was the one that really pushed me to continue to have faith in the Lord and continue to pray and to fast and continue to be disciplined and be in the Word. And one scripture that's in Ephesians is thinking about things above. And one of the things that gave me hope was I always, when I would pray and when I would meditate, I would always think about the day that I would dedicate my son to the Lord. The day that I would dedicate my son to the Lord, I always remembered that day that I would dedicate my son to the Lord, and that would give me that would give me hope. It would keep me fervent in my prayer life. It would push me. So those who are losing hope, those that are losing hope,
I thought it was sorry.
those who are losing hope, and those who are that are in that place, that dark place, you know, you just have to think of things above. You have to continue to think of you know, all the good things that the Lord has done and all the things that the Lord will do for you. So
absolutely. And I just, it's beautiful how we kind of touched on like the physical aspect of the situation, the emotional aspect, the mental aspect, and now the spiritual aspect, because it's so important. Like we encompass all of it, right? And I just, this testimony is just so beautiful to me. Yeah. It's just so beautiful to me. And I think now we could even bring in the baby, right, for everyone to see. And you will introduce your son. So I just want you guys to introduce. Take over.
Okay, so this is Nathaniel Jeremiah Motayo Ogunfowora, aka NJ. I call him NJ. And yeah, this is our son. This is the baby that we prayed for. Yeah. This is the baby that God has granted us as a gift.
Yeah, and his name, like there was a revelation about his name. You know, what was revealed to us was that, you know, the Lord is going to give us a son, and he's going to be precious unto you guys. Like he's going to be precious. He's going to be a good boy. He won't give you guys any issues or any problems. And so he, you know, yeah, so his name means precious gift from God. Yeah. And then Jeremiah, I've always loved the name, the name Jeremiah, and the story of Jeremiah. And it's, you know, whenever I think of Jeremiah, I think of the plans that I have for you. Yeah. So.
And he's all fly. Look how fly he looks. You know. Super fly. Super fly.
Yeah, and he truly is a joy.
Yeah,
he truly is a joy.
If he has milk and his cocoa melon, he's good.
And that's what he's currently watching.
Yeah.
Cocoa melon. So if you could just share one piece of, I guess, you know, advice for anyone that is going through what you guys went through, what would it be? And I'll start. Yeah, I'll
definitely start. Is just grieve well, whatever that looks like, whatever that means to you. Make sure you feel your feels. Make sure you grieve well, and be honest. Be honest with the Lord. Be honest with other people around you. And most importantly, whoever your spouse is. You know, the person that you're in this with, you know, make sure that you are, you know, listening to them and checking in on them, and everybody grieves differently, but we have to just pay attention to each other's, you know, feels, each other's grief, and whatever, however you feel, you still pray every single day. Yeah. Pray every single day. No matter how you feel, if you don't feel like it, you know, the Lord is going to see you through it.
And for me, I would say to, you know, keep pressing in the Lord. Keep pressing. You know, there will be dark times, there will be dark days. You know, feel what you are feeling. Don't suppress your feelings. Feel what you feel and feel it right. And be honest to God about what you're feeling. But after you've done all of that, wipe your tears and keep on pressing.
I love that. Keep on pressing.
Yeah.
He's so cute. He is so cute. So cute. So thank you both so much for coming on KepTalk, sharing your story. You know, even me, right? I'm so inspired by the both of you. I'm truly touched. And like I said, I just know that God just made this happen today. you know, it being Mother's Day
Yeah.
and this being your first
Mother's
Day. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I hope and pray that everyone that watches this video is also encouraged and inspired. Timi said something that I don't think will really honestly leave me. Just having a bigger picture, right? You said that you always thought about the day you would dedicate your son, and just focusing on that bigger picture. That's what gave you hope. And even for me personally, you know, I am going to, you know, go into my closet, right, and figure out the bigger picture for certain things in my life right now that I'm going through, right, that I can focus on and look at and hold on to. So I learned a lot today. So thank you so much. And yeah, this was awesome. This was really, really awesome. It was a special Mother's Day. And yeah, look at this beautiful family. So Timi Ayo and Nathaniel, thank you for coming on KepTalk. Love you all so much, and have a wonderful month of May.